Welcome back, folks, to the DreamHack Open Tours, the inaugural tournament of the year for our Opens. And it's an exciting one, especially if you are me from North America, because Torqued are on stage, Hugo.
They are indeed, and up against Gambit as well. Definitely an underdog story here for the North American side. But hey, anything is possible. Best of one. We've got the map vetoes broken down by the analyst desk, and we are going to be jumping over to Overpass. Where do you think this is going to go, Connor?
It's a really tough situation because, I mean, obviously they're just so outclassed at the moment, right? Like, it's without a doubt that you have to say Gambit are the heavy favorites coming into this. Torqued even qualifying, right? The only team of the current 8 who have qualified to Opens that came all the way from the Open qualifier stage. So they have already been on a tear, on a bit of a run, and this is, the reward they get. Gambit on their opening matchup. There's a lot of parallels actually to draw between this matchup and the opening game of last year's final tournament. We saw Rise Nation at the time, who are now United, making it across the pond and representing NA versus who, of course? Gambit in the opening matchup. We kind of tried to paint the picture in terms of a potential upset, but in reality, Gambit are just of a completely different class. If they start off slowly, if somebody isn't able to kind of step up and carry those opening few rounds, then maybe Torque makes something happen. And I do genuinely believe that a T side for Torque could give them some rounds, but it's that CT side and just overall the map itself that it's definitely in question.
I mean, that's where we've seen them crumble recently, right? Let's look back to just their recent relegation matches and, of course, the MDL LAN as well, where they weren't able to make their way into Pro League next season. They weren't able to get deep in the MDL finals either. And when we look to their play on Overpass up against Wendigo, as you said, really strong T side, crumbled on that second half. And this cannot afford to happen against Gambit, who are so confident coming into this game. Not only are they, one of the teams that we expect to potentially see in this finals or even pick up the win here in Tour, but also their Overpass game has been so strong recently. And although we spoke to James a little bit before the game from the side of Torqued, and he said, we're kind of expecting to see this map to come through. Overpass is something that, we're prepared for, but how prepared can you be when you're up against a team that has been so successful in this map as of late? Yeah,
again, I think they will be well prepared, and I think that their T side might have something to impress us. But it's just a matter of, can anybody on Torqued, hit a certain skill ceiling that will be able to contest versus Gambit? Because if we go back to that, again, opening game versus Rise Nation, you had a 38 frags from Hobbit alone. There was simply no solution from a team of a lesser caliber to compete on a guy who can just carry a game single-handedly like that. And while we might not necessarily be painting Hobbit as the player to maybe perform like that here today, you definitely have to look at a Dren. 1.14 rating coming in off of Marseille, a 1.15 rating at Betsnet where the team struggled as a whole, but as players, he has kind of been that hard carry. He's coming back into his own. And if we remember that just 2 events ago, Hobbit was your in-game leader, now is about the time that I expect him to start performing back to what we had come to expect of him, right? I mean, you think Hobbit in 2017 was one of the biggest breakout players of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, now the pressure has really taken off him, and the IGL role moving back over to C's, who's had plenty of experience. I think Hobbit is definitely going to be feeling it. As you can see, they're looking pretty warmed up and ready to go in this first map of the day. And you made a brief point about Marseille there as well. This is Gambit being a team that's so inconsistent. It's finally just come off the back of a top 4 finish at a 250k event. These guys are looking pretty on fire right now. So coming up against Torqued, I don't think they're going to have too much of a worry. It's just, how prepared are Torqued? How much can they surprise us? Do they have something new?
Yeah, I mean, it's a moment where, we think of Gambit on LAN, and sure, they're impressing, right? But you compare that to some of their online, falls, or, shortcomings as of late. They didn't qualify for IEM Sydney. They didn't qualify for the upcoming Star Series LAN event, and they didn't qualify for Belo Horizonte either. So this is still the same old Gambit, right? That struggling online, bogged down, and then suddenly we get these just shimmers of starlight from them on LAN. So it's that reason as well that I think Gambit are going to perform here today. It's these sorts of events that they're still receiving invites for. They're an Astro Open regular attendee, and well, I think that they're one of the gatekeepers really for NA teams when it comes to opening games.
Another thing with that is I would say Torqued are almost the complete opposite in some sense, right? They have been the ones online that have been making a bit of a name for themselves, obviously qualifying here, making their way to Belo Horizonte as well. And when it comes down to their LAN performance, we haven't seen a lot in terms of big LANs, but just last week playing in Leicester in the United Kingdom for MDL, Torqued were not showing the form that we saw coming into that event and that we were at least expecting from them. So we've got to hope that the LAN nerves don't get to them here in France and they can step up and perform.
To be fair, that translation from online to LAN game, you look at just the statistical performance of their players. In an online environment, Poyo is one of the higher rated heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And he is also the least experienced player on this team. Even, say, Braxton Swag has had the chance at the CS Summit in North America when he stood in for Cloud9 at the original Summit event to kind of, get a taste of that top tier event. Here on screen, Poyo, Matt Wilson is, again, a high rated player at 1.06, but he hasn't been able to translate that onto LAN as of last weekend. It was Torque's debut on LAN. If anyone was going to struggle, it's fair to assume it was him. And if he can start stepping up and performing alongside his team, then I do believe that they can at least try to hold their own and contest some rounds.
Yeah, and I think if we're talking about heavy hitters coming into this game as well, you can't kind of sleep on the AWPing prowess of both these rosters, right? Yeah. We look over to Kusta on the side of Torque, who's just been such a good player recently. Him and Steel have been carrying them through a lot of their performances. And if we see Kusta up against Mo, who's just a god on Overpass, right, coming into a map that Gambit are comfortable on again, I think this could be a really exciting narrative to follow. Who's going to be taking these AWP battles? Who's going to be at least coming out on top? Because I think that's going to define a lot of this map. If we see Kusta opening up round after round and maybe starting off their CT side with a bit of flair, we could potentially see, Torque in a really good spot here.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? AWPing is going to be the name of the game. It's a very small sample size, but of the 2 LAN maps we've seen from Torque on Overpass, Kusta actually has a 73% success rate on opening kills. That's massive.
Yeah.
The problem for him in this instance is that you've got Mo on the other end of things, and Mo can be an incredible opening AWP player. He's very good at getting those 5 versus 4 situations, in particular on a map like Overpass. I think he's going to be a very real burden down towards that B bomb site, and if I'm not mistaken, that's where Kusta, I think, will begin his AWPing role, at least for the terrorist half. He's definitely going to be trying to crack open B. We'll see Torque trying to set him up inside of short, boosts and whatnot, looking to kind of, remove and shave one player off that bomb site.
I'd love to hear what your like official prediction now is coming into this game, right? Because obviously we've hyped up talked a lot. We've said they have the potential, they have the possibility to find this victory, but at the end of the day, there's no arguing Gambit is the better team when it comes down to on paper and experience in their previous LAN. So do you really think Torque have it in them here, or are you going to go for the safe pick of Gambit?
As much as I would love to as much as I love to root for them and support them, I cannot consciously give them the advantage here. I cannot say that Torque have a chance. They need to prove us all wrong. That's what they need to do through and through, is prove themselves as well. So it's Gambit. This is Gambit's game. But, kind of like what Blood was talking about on the desk, I do think this is, maybe their event to lose. If they're going to have a colder start, which they do sometimes do, they're no strangers to dropping into lower brackets. Nice headset. We do have an opportunity for Torque to, again, maybe give us something to talk about. But Torque's CT side, even on Overpass versus teams like Windigo last weekend, was abysmal. They had a 10-5 lead at the end of the T side, switching over to then only win a single round on CT side. You need to take the success that they have in opening halves, because at least 4 or 5 times, again, at MDL and the relegation games, they had a substantial lead at the end of the first half. It is closing out games, most notably on the counter-terrorist side, that Torque continues to struggle. And if there's any improvement that I'm hoping to see from them here this weekend in Tour, it's going to be on those defensive sides, on any map. They need to prove their ability there, because we know they have the strategic essence. We know they have the ability to find opening kills and man advantages, but it's winning games that they now have to start doing. And unfortunately for them, the level of competition is only going to increase over the next 3 events.
Indeed, yeah, and let's talk about IGLs for this game, right? Because of course we've got Steel on the side of Torque. He's a player who doesn't seem to take too much of like a back seat when calling in terms of his individual performance. He's constantly at the top of the ball for the team. He's alongside Kusta, rivaling up against the best in his roster. And then if we look over to the side of Gambit, obviously there's been a bit of a switch around recently with callers, but I feel like when you saw Hobbit on that calling role, his individual performance took a drop. The same with Doja when he took that for a brief period of time at the start of the year. He took a drop there. With Seized back on the calling role, do you think maybe he can step up individually and keep alongside his team? And if he does, maybe that could be the win condition for Gambit here.
I mean, is it possible? Yeah, sure. There was a time with Navi where Seized, alongside Flamey, was one of those more dominant fraggers. However, you look at the last 2 events with Betnet and then DreamHack Master Marseille, both times Seized has been statistically the lowest rated player, which is fair. He's doing his fair part in setting up the plays. Obviously, he's calling as well, so he doesn't need to succeed. If Seized is your heaviest hitter, if he is your top fragger, then I think the rest of Gambit are trailing behind. But It is no longer time to trail. It is time to play. Torque versus Gambit in the opening match of Tours, folks. North America's hope versus a Goliath on the T side. And this is the question. Can Torque perform when defending these maps? It's already not off to a great start as they lose the first kill, but it is Kusta to trade straight back, and Steel gets overwhelmed here towards Connector. Poyo now knows that his flank is open, and Kusta the same. So can he find another head? Doesn't look like it.
No, it is just the lone man on the CT side, Swag up against 4. Gambit do still look to commit to this A site, but the bomb is taking its time to work its way up, so they can just get the information that Swag's here and drop down the connector. That seems to be the game plan here for Gambit. A man up on A at least gets the information. So this bomb heading down towards the lower site, Swag's got to rotate into a very difficult spot. Does not seem like a round he can win, but there's been crazier things to happen, and there we go, starting off. First one dead. Mo's going to get aggressive there, so the information gained by Gambit, they know exactly where Swag is coming from. Moving into the site, he doesn't have a kit to play with, and that's going to be one of the big issues. Gambit still have so much utility for this bomb. A Molotov can just single-handedly win them the round, but the angle's found from Swag. He's doubled it. Doja's dead as well, and Gambit is still playing passive towards the short. One player even flanking from the upper bomb side, but that Molotov, that might just seal the deal here.
Yeah, most definitely should, especially with Hobbit on that flank. Had Swag maybe had a kit here, or if both of these Ts were on the bomb site, he could have more quickly isolated these kills. He's doing a very good job of cutting this down into a 1 versus 1 situation, but obviously time not on his side, and Gambit will pick up their pistol. Now Torqued, they wanted an aggressive fight to start off this game. We see Steel standing inside of Connector, looking to keep his players towards party safe. Poyo and Kusta are tasked with those opening engagements and trying to find their frags. But when you start losing all of your opening kills and you get pushed into a 4 versus 1, Hugo, your hopes are slim.
I want to see if Torqued have done their homework here. Gambit really do like to go for these really fast B plays in the early start of this map, as well as, you know, taking long control on their anti-ecos. It seems like they're already setting up towards that lower site as well, and Swag, he's hungry off of the pistol performance in the previous round, but C's is going to deck him straight away. First kill found for Gambit, and they're already looking to enter onto this B site. Hobbit plays contact, but there's a trade. Torque trying to keep things in check, and it is down to a 4v4, but that gun is irretrievable.
I always love to watch Gambit's grenade play. And that was a nice chunky frag off Adren. Of course, AZK does still stand here, but they're not able to retrieve the weapon, unfortunately, for Torque, so they can't really capitalize. And nice follow-up grenade. There it is. Utility usage, clearing the player. This gives a lot of space to Mo, who has already, of course, had that first frag fall towards Monster. And Steel is going to get sneaky here. Now, they'll thoroughly clear the corner and easily take him down, so it's definitely Gambit to convert here. But Torque did have a nice little setup. It was just Gambit found the solution.
Nice to watch a bit of slow, calculated CS as well for Gambit. Not only in the pistol round where they didn't just commit to that A-bomb site in the 4-on-1, they rather played for the information. They do the same here. Slowly but surely clearing out B, and the exits will be granted as well. Kusta's dead outside T-spawn, and Poyo is the last man up. Torqued, no chance of winning the round. He's just going to try and save the CZ. Maybe if Gambit get aggressive towards that spawn, he can grab a weapon, but it doesn't seem to be the case. These Ts holding on to their rifles and bringing 3 into the next round as well. That's a very successful anti-force buy for Gambit.
If there's one thing that I hope Gambit do give credit to Torque for, it's going to be these kinds of eco rounds. You know, we mentioned in-game leaders, and I think Steel is, first of all, on an individual level, a very cerebral player, right? He's intelligent, he likes making smart decisions. Unfortunately, you know, it comes down to being unequipped in this one round. But it's expect pauses from Torque, expect a very vocal Steel. He loves to kind of iron out all those minimal mistakes, and he runs a very tight ship. You have to be a certain type of player to play with Steel because he is, you know, a commandeering leader. And I'd hope that Gambit will give him credit for that. Now, he's gone for the B-site stack, trying to get ahead of what has been Gambit's choosing thus far. And a Molotov will force Kusta into the open, where he deals 75 damage and dies.
Still a heavy stack here, though, for Torqued, and Gambit may be considering the B-site after that early pick. But again, will they play slow? Will they play calculated? Will they even clear out the A side of the map where Torqued shows 0 presence? Dosia walking back up the connector, does watch his backline, but Gambit are going to bring the bomb all the way around on the rotation, so not walking into that stack from Torqued. Good read so far here from the T side, and Dosia is even trying to catch off these rotations. He will just miss the jump of Swag, but that noise is going to be heard. More information to Gambit to play off of, knowing that Torqued have short control and therefore confidently walking up long to the A site. Torqued, not a single man here. They need to rotate if they want any chance of this round.
Yeah, just a perfect solution from Gambit here. The fact that Doja gets connector uncontested, that means, of course, that Bathrooms should be cleared as he moves forward. And once he has this info, they know it has to be that B stack. Obviously, Torque heard inside of Connector, giving the info away. And by the time that Gambit arrive, Poyo, sure enough, has rotated towards Bank, but it's in the face of smoke grenades and a bomb plant to boot.
And again, holding on to all this utility, Gambit are not wasting nades in this spot. They have so many Molotovs and smokes for the post plants, can just completely cycle these out for the round and not allow Torque to even consider this retake. Seized has the back of Mo covered, and he'll find the kill to Bank. Dozier still catching rotations, and with that, there's just one man left up towards the CT spawn. Won't be too much to deal with. And Gambit, they're going to lose only one player in their two anti-ecos. This is good money built up. The result of this means that even if Torque find this first rifle round on the board, Gambit is still going to be able to continue to buy. Torque's going to need a couple in a row here if they want to force these T sides to eco.
And unfortunately for Torque, again, right, we question their CT sides, and now they have a very well-equipped and smooth start facing them. Gambit going to be heading towards B, and we do see Adren setting grenades already. That's a smoke deep, probably for Graffiti, possibly Heaven up. It's through the smokes that they will run. And here's Swag, at least with one kill, and AZK coming off the flashbang is able to drop another body, but it's Steel on ramp, the third casualty of the bomb site, and now at this point, Gambit push forward. Poyo and Kusta, they'll rotate down, but unfortunately for Poyo, he nearly gets caught off guard. He's going to lose a lot of health as we transition to Equilibrium 2 versus 2, and Kusta nullified thanks to another great play off of utility.
Time playing against them, the kit down on the site that they need to pick up as well, and Mo just trying to delay this with a Molotov over the top of the CT spawn. They have to force himself into the open or back off and go for the save. That Molotov forces them to make a decision, and they get split. Communication issues here for Torque potentially, as Poyo's going to go down, and Kusta just looks to save this AWP into another round. A safe decision to make, but Gambit are going to find their fourth on this T side. Definitely off to a good start here.
I really like the layers of utility that round from Gambit. I mean, we see that fast smoke usage right inside of the bomb site in order to kind of prime the bomb plant, give him cover to Heaven. That allows for those quick 3 rapid kills in succession as they rush in. Then we see, obviously, Kusta completely countered inside of Heaven with a great smoke and flash. He rotates downwards to his only potential opening, and a fantastic Molotov definitely seals the deal, sectioning the players and allowing for them to take kills at their choosing. So 4-0 as the first gun round goes the way of Gambit, and it will be Torqued heading down to the B site with a single op in their hands. Some utility for Steel, sure, but it's going to set them up into the scope of Mo, who finds the kill already.
Hoping duel one by the T side. This couldn't get any easier on the anti-force. Swag, 1 kill on the CZ-75, but the AWP is dropped in the open, and Torque can't go retrieve that. Gambit with control over the outer side of the B site, but Swag is still trying to make it costly as Steel just baits. Low HP here for Gambit, and they're actually losing players. Swag just grabbed an AK, and he's found his 3rd kill of the round. Gambit now slowing down. Torque trying to force more kills, and the flashbang is perfect. Steel picks up Dozier. No way Torque's going to win this round. It's only Mo left back up. He's resorted to the side up, but he does get a quick shot, going back in for more, and Steel will save it. It's the 1-2 combo from Torque, and they will pick up the eco.
Nice. They pick up the op as well, right? They're able to move that forward. So this is now 5 rounds in a row from Gambit where they have made first contact at that B site. Most notably as well, doing this in a pretty rapid pace. So sure, they've just offered up a round, but I mean, that's the 3rd B site stack from Torque. They've had no need to go anywhere else, at least at the beginning of these rounds. So it's to no surprise that eventually that stack does work out. Now, this is a bit of a golden ticket back into the game, seeing as it allows for their cash to build up. A nice solid buy, instantly purchased from Torque. And again, they try to find an opening. It is Kusta positioned in a place where he can find a pick, but seeing as Gambit will reserve themselves through the playground, he's not given that opportunity, and he doesn't want to force the issue. He falls back as Torque maintain a 5v5.
Yeah, and look at the pace of Gambit, just a complete difference from these first 5 rounds into the map. They're just holding default right now, trying to take slow map control and see if Torque are overextending. They know the potential of getting this reset here on the T side, and so Gambit employ a bit of a boost. We're going on top of the balloon here for Mo. Kusta was earlier up on long with the AWP, but this time he's fallen back, so Mo's not going to be given a free pick here. Gambit starting to run dry on time, so they've got to make a commitment towards a site eventually. Still stacked up towards A, they begin to move through the toilets, but Torqued, they're just playing on the sites, Connor, and they've still got a hell of a lot of utility. If this gets down to the wire in the 30-second mark, we could see Molotovs come in, smokes to delay Gambit, and then we could see Gambit in a very difficult spot where they're pressed to get kills.
Ooh, Kusta, thanks to Poyo's finishing shot, will help out on that entry kill. And I like that at that moment, he got a little curious, right? He's not allowing for them to set up a full-blown execution at that 40-second mark. He tries to disrupt it, and he does a very good job. Now here comes the volleys of nades, but it's Kusta, of course, with another kill. And at 15 seconds, Poyo will have a prime opportunity to deny anything further. 19 HP as they start to line up, but still Gambit will grind their way into the bomb site in order to take their plant. Now they're at a disadvantage. A single player more for Torque, but they too have utility here to play off of for the retake. You can see it forcing Hobbit into the open, and with both these players tagged, it's starting to go their way. Seized falls as Steel takes 2 and Torqued a second round.
And an important one at that, because again, the money kept strong for Torqued here. If they lost 3 or 4 players into that round, this buy would have been a little weak. We may see UMPs come through. We may see limitations on utility and kits, but no. With many players left over for the side of Torque, they can drop over the appropriate rifles, get Kusta back on that AWP to look for more and more impact. And Steel, again, the man that we talk about on this team, coming up big with a double kill back into the site. Torque certainly looking like they don't want to roll over in this one as they take their second round. And Gambit forcing the issue. 2 CZs, 3 rifles, and back to B it seems here for the T side.
Flashbangs into short will slow this down. Gambit and Torque both trying viably to get a pick at B. Again, right, in this previous round, we see Torque give up a lot of presence towards the A site, only to then take back a little in those closing 40 seconds. Now we are at a minute 20 here, and we have Gambit primed for a B site strike. Although they don't have connector control, and you can see how wary they are of something in there because there was movement, there was presence, and now it's gone. But the hit comes in, and Torque will have to hold.
We need big kills to come through straight away, and Steel, AZK lining up 2. Everyone chiming in here for Torque, and they're just going to mow down Gambit. Talking of which, the last man, Mo, stuck on short with only a CZ. Torque has smoked him off, and they've cordoned him out of the site. He can't even grab a rifle from one of his fallen teammates, and Torque solidifying their chance at this round. Surely no reason to get aggressive. They hold onto the bomb, they hold onto the guns, and they force Mo to make a decision here. 40 seconds left on the clock. I don't know how much Mo's going to be able to get done, considering we still have 3 incendiaries left for Torque as well. They can completely force him out of this round and keep him down to the wire.
So this is it. This is Gambit back down into pistols. This is Torque's opportunity to even out the game. And I mean, so far we've just seen B hit after B hit. Sure, the previous round eventually goes to A, but I mean, it's a slow, grinding walk all the way to the site. And other than some eventual trade frags, didn't go their way. Mo doesn't want to die after time, so he'll try to do damage, but Poyo sees it coming. That's a great angle to hold, seeing as the shadow on short is always giving the entry fragger away. So very easy to just anticipate that final kill. But here's the spray down from AZK, who does get the back of both Doja and Adren. They were so preoccupied with clearing out Steel first and foremost, who again gets a kill for himself and does take Gambit down. So this should be their conversion point, but Gambit will still come in with a couple bells and whistles, smokes and pistols. They'll have something to play with, but not much.
But look at this aggression again from Torque. They're bringing it up. We saw this into one of the first buy rounds, already pushing towards the party. And again, good utility usage from Torque. They've shown it on retaking before. Going to tag down Seized early on, and the AWP shot going to rail off, but it misses. Kusta getting hunted here. He may need the support of his teammate. These pistols can overwhelm him, but 2 shots come through, and 2 kills from Kusta. Looking for more, and Kusta is just lining them up. 4 frags on the AWP, and 4 rounds for Torqued on the CT side.
If Kusta's going to start exploding like this, then unfortunately for Gambit, they're in a bit of a pickle. But that right there obviously is just a clean eco. They were so adamant on chasing down the AWPer. Poyo at a great time does, of course, bail him out with that first kill. Really kind of sets the stage for Kusta to succeed here. And that's not the first time, notably, that Poyo has helped out Kusta with bathrooms. So those 2 players are doing a great job at the A site, but they're going to swap positions here. Poyo continuing his tasks up above, and Kusta looking for his pick through Monster. But it's the early utility from Gambit to convince them off of angles. Nicely done! Kusta finds the leg of Seized, and then quick flicks up into his groin for the kill. But Steel, he'll be questioned here in Connector, and it's not the first time he's tried to hold this on his own.
But just lurking around the smoke, though. Once that starts to dissipate, problems could ensue here for Steel, but he does have support towards the upper side of the A site, so no one's going to be coming down through those stairs. 1 minute on the clock here, and Torque still holding on to all of their nades. Gambit are just waiting for this smoke to dissipate so they can try and force a kill towards the connector, try and isolate Steel, who they have an assumption is alone. But Poyo's position could be very dangerous here, and off angle, committed to this duel. Dozier walks around the corner, and there's the kill. Now Steel can be pressured from both sides of this connector. Things could look up for Gambit. They found the pick to pull it back into a 4-on-4. Steel just waits, though, biding his time as he waits for a player to move back up through the stairwell. Gambit looking towards the A site, though, and Kusta's having rotated in position. We're going to need another big round from him.
Ooh, he starts it off. That's a Dren down. Now there is a second player rounding the boxes, but Steel's able to strike Doja from behind. Mo, sure enough, clears that site, but Steel continues here, and that eventual flank from Hobbit's also spotted. Big play from Steel this time, as he just holds it off, keeps his cool. You could see Doja anticipating his peak after that first kill, and Steel, again, he's not the kind of guy to get antsy. He plays it patient and strikes at the perfect time. Of course, Kusta catching the kill towards the B site and stopping one on A. Him himself, cuts them down to 3.
And now Pistols back out again for Gambit. They had no success last time they ran this after Kusta mowed them down on A, but maybe they'll take a different approach. Already a more of a default established connector B. The bomb dropped outside of the playground as well, and talked, as they always do, just early spotting towards the fountain. This is good, because if you don't spot any Gambit players moving towards that playground, you can make the assumption that maybe Gambit is setting up for a B play. This team, as we've already seen, loves to do that. It can easily, convince Torque to maybe send another man down towards that site or be prepared for some kind of execute. But Gambit don't have a lot of utility for this one to throw in the full set of smokes. Only one on Dosia. Torque just again spotting up on short, but Poyo not committing. And to be honest, we've not seen too much pressure on A long so far this map. We saw one round where Mo walked up there with the AWP and found a pick, but other than that, Gambit really haven't been throwing in the pressure. However, this time, maybe a bit of a different story. Rotation up the connector. Kusta does drop that one man on long, and now Gambit looking to assimilate around this A site once again.
Yeah, they're going to get themselves close. Because Kusta holds long, he's not able to interrupt anything on bathrooms, which is what we saw previously versus Pistols. But Adren with a stack gets the fadeaway. Poyo punished. And now Kusta's looking for another kill here, but it's up close that he finds his duel. Still able to win it as Steel rotates up. And this is looking like a clean conversion. Solid stuff from Kusta. Another 4K on an anti-eco. He is punishing these eventual A-site pushes.
And these pistols can be so dangerous up against an AWPer. Again, look back at these rounds in toilets where he's getting other 4Ks, These pistols commonly just overrunning players of the AWP, able to just manhandle and take down these big rifles and give teams like Gambit an opportunity on these rounds. But no, they're not even getting close. Kusta's just having an absolute field day.
And if we don't find Steel inside connector, I think he's been doing a good job of being that first rotator to either of the sites, right? We have successful anchors. AZK down here towards Monster one round, Kusta up on bathrooms in multiple instances. So if your bomb site players are finding multiple kills in a round and your rotators are on time, this is starting to look like a great CT side. Sure, it's got to convert fully into these gun rounds, but remember, if there was one thing that we had to criticize Torque for after their MDL performance, it was CT sides. They have had a 1-week boot camp here in France, and now they're already starting to mark those improvements, but they've lost their opening player. They've lost that opening kill, and the A site is not fortified. It's not ready.
Torque went for the 4-man B stack, expectant of one of these heavy B plays from Gambit they've been showing, but that's come back to haunt them. Poyo dead instantly, no trade in, and Steel's caught on a rotation as well. This is at the point in time that Torque may just consider saving these rifles. Kusta's tagged up, and Gambit still have control of the site, but AZK trying to catch aggressive players. If he finds this double frag here, Torque maybe with an opportunity. Time ticking away though, and they've got to get into position quickly, but AZK's found that second frag. Now they're going to start to be convinced of it. Seized is tagged up on the site as well, but no Torqued. I think they've realized surely this time is too low. Surely they've got to make a bail, but no, they move out onto the site. Seized, flashed out, great utility usage again, and a 1-for-1, leaving it just down to Swag. He's going to find the first, but he needs to jump on this bomb, and he just can't find it. The flash impedes his vision, and Gambit find their 5th round.
There you have it. They're able to get it on the clock, but because of AZK's kills, I do understand why they'd want to get that retake rolling. It just got way too frantic towards the end. And had they, of course, been able to maybe clear out a long after plant with that flank, then things are different. But with Gambit so deeply rooted inside bathrooms, well, we see what happens. They're able to convert their round. Now, that was a misjudgment here from Torque, right? We see that 4-man B-site defense, and in this round, it's Gambit to finally hit A with guns, overwhelming Poyo instantly, and just getting a bomb site for free. And even then, in a 4 versus 5 situation with nobody close to rotating, they're still able to gun it down into a 1v1.
Well, not even just the fact that they weren't close to rotating. Torque seemed hesitant to rotate up towards A, because we've not seen Gambit start any of these buy rounds by finding a pick and then quickly executing. They've just been going for the execute straight up in a 5-on-5. So that's the first situation Torque have had to deal with, Gambit having a man advantage, and then just going off the back of that, just speeding up the pace, knowing that they can play the numbers game, play the trade game down to the last man. And so Torque slow to rotate back up towards A, leaving Gambit to find their 5th round. Now we have full rifles back in here for the T side. No AWP on Mo, and considering Kusta's been on fire so far this game, the lack of AWP on Gambit could be problematic.
Could certainly be. C's position could also be problematic. He's got to just suddenly tuck tail and dodge, but no, he comes out. That was anticipated because of the spray down. He's thinking he can find a kill on a player who's reloading, but sure enough, there are 2 CTs in position, and they do get ahead of him. Now, of course, the door's been cracked open and Swag goes on a bit of an expedition all alone. He falls in his duel, and then Hobbit wins another. So what would have been a 5 versus 4 is actually taken back by Gambit. And while Hobbit barely hangs on, it is a man advantage. It's low utility still for Torqued, and they are split between the bomb sites. We'll have to see if AZK and Kusta can anchor yet again.
That was an awkward moment for Steel as well, because after losing his teammate up on B long, he feels the need to force a kill to try and get Torqued back in the man advantage, just so Gambit don't run over this B bomb site. And as a result, losing that battle and only getting the dink on Hobbit leaves Torqued now in the spot where they have to fight back against an uphill battle. Kusta looking to do that, does miss a shot with the AWP and gives away his position as well. 30 points of health as he begins to fall back, but 30 seconds for Gambit to make their choice. A or B, where do they hit? The bomb being picked back up and Dosia moving back down the connector. Maybe they're looking for this lower site once again.
Thing is, you do have a player kind of pushed up here still inside the bathrooms. That is Kusta. You could justify Poyo rotating right here and now because there's only 50 seconds left. Now they've also opened the door, so that's an audio cue being given away, but with the position over towards Graffiti being held by AZK, he doesn't want a duel here. He's not trying to force the kills, although he could have actually maybe stopped the bomb carrier. Still he comes in, nearly spraying out a second, but that's it! He's got it! And Poyo's nade will find another. It is the clock that costs them. Torqued a 7th round.
And you could see Gambit when they were in a playground back 30 seconds earlier, running around looking for the bomb, unable to find it. It comes back to haunt them. They may have the man advantage, but slowing down far too much here on the T side will cost them the round. And a big play from AZK to peek out and drop a Dren with that bomb will lead Torque in the lead even further. Gambit again forcing the issue. A CZ, a Tech 9, as rare as this may seem, and 3 rifles. They're going back towards the B bomb site. Torque again expecting a bit of an early play, throw down some incendiaries areas to stop the contact from Gambit. But it isn't made just yet. They work their way towards short. Now the push is going to come through. Dren first in line, but AZK looking to repeat his success. It's only one. Swag finding one of his own, and Steel even joining the party. Torqued, no one going massive, but everyone putting up the kills required of them.
Continuous grenades as well will keep them aback, but Mo, just before the smoke plumes in his face, does clear Swag. Now there is substantial damage having been dealt here to Gambit. Hobbit on 45 will have a chance to just creep in. This could be a big play, especially if he finds Steel, but Steel gets the best of him. And Mo will try to rotate up towards A. This is Torqued with a very real opportunity to close another round, but it is going to offer up the bomb plant, of course. So Mo should find this with ease, and just now has to lock down the bomb site. They're already starting to move in on him. And again, 10 health. He has barely anything to work with, but he does have the molly. Steel's having none of it. He pushes up quite quickly and clears the board. Torqued with another.
This is the best CT side we've seen from Torqued on this map as well. Let's look back to recent LAN performance. It was 1 round up against Windigo recently at MDL on their CT side after a 10-round T half. If you combine the fact that we already know Torqued are really sick at these T sides on Overpass, this is starting to look very problematic for Gambit. They need to find a couple of rounds, but again, the money situation is not in their favor. Bomb plant going to give them more cash, but they forced up the previous round, and now they have to eco. Torqued almost gifted a 9th here because they've not had problems with dealing with the pistols of Gambit.
Yeah, I mean, and thankfully for Gambit, they're able to win the pistol round, right? What a completely different situation it would be had they not had that initial 3-point buffer. But, again, grenade volley towards Monster. Swag to hold the same position and play the anti-flash. The change up here is AZK. He has been floating a little closer to that connector position, and I do like that he changes it now because it is versus pistols. So they're going to come in close. You saw Dren last round just run in haphazardly, offering up his back. Maybe this time something works, but it is AZK taking down 2, so Monster's easily held. Take note that the rotator's already on the pillar. Steel into position, and this is a clean sweep until one man falls. But if it's a single death, so what? 9-5. Torqued not slowing down here yet.
I do like that setup though from Gambit though. 3 nades being thrown over towards a position that, as you said, AZK has been, habitually in pretty much every single round on this B defense. And Gambit, they realize it, they set up the nades, but no, it's a change of setup against pistols that actually, keeps Torqued in a really good spot. No one losing any health to those pistols, and as you said, almost a clean sweep. Only Steel going down.
It's the furthest back you can play on the B bomb site of Overpass without offering the bomb site by being in graffiti.
Yeah.
They put those rifles as far back as possible, and they just use them to their advantage. Now, Kusta's on long. They're anticipating maybe something fresh. And of course, Gambit still looking for answers here. They've spread their numbers thin. They're all across the map. They'd love any opening.
And again, back to this setup from Torqued. Kusta's up on long, as you said, finding that kill. Dosi are going to go down, and no trade in for Gambit. They may have some B short control, but Torqued, they've not been getting too aggressive towards this lower site. Apart from a couple of rounds where we've seen maybe Swag push up on long, Torqued have been happy to give Gambit this control. They've been locking them down as soon as they walk in through the choke, and especially with the man advantage, with Gambit having no utility left apart from Hobbit. This really is a problem. We may see even a 10th round for Torqued on the half, which is unnatural considering their recent performance. But look at the bomb, and look at Poyo. He lines up 2. Bomb dropped, and that might just be it for Gambit. It's a 5-on-2. Both players on the lower bomb site trying to force kills as AZK begins his rotation. But Swag can lock this entire round down from behind, and he already starts it off.
Swag has very consistently been looking for this opening on a flank too. Over and over, he's been positioned on Monster, and this time it works out on a gun round to note. So unless Hobbit closes out the T half with a 1 versus 4, it's done, and it's double digits for Torqued. This would not have surprised me had it come from their T side. But as you said, this is the most successful CT side we've seen from Torqued in this roster's existence.
Yeah. On this map against Gambit, who have just been so prevalent on Overpass as of late, their best or not second best map. And now we're coming into this. Gambit, hot streak off of Marseille, getting a top 4 finish there and having some great wins in France just a couple of weeks ago. And now it's Torqued leading. This is a Cinderella story if I've ever seen it.
And I do believe that there was some very good reads by Torqued in this game on that CT side, right? We've got some solid B-site setups and constant changing, right? Think of Kusta's repositioning between both A and B, but even within the bomb sites, trying to take picks from a different position. Poor Dojo walks into long A, assuming it's going to be open, as it has been for the majority of the half, and sure enough, it's Kusta with a different angle. So, very fresh. And now they get to go to their forte. Torqued's T-sides have impressed, never versus an opponent of this caliber. And again, this is Gambit's most successful map win rate. Overpass. It's their home. And right now it's being invaded. Torqued are looking promising here at the beginning of tours.
Dear, oh dear. Gambit are going to need this pistol around here, because without it, it could even be a 13-5 lead to Torqued on that second half. Another thing to note is as well, Torqued all looking consistent across the board. 4 of the 5 players have 12 or 13 kills. No real weak links here for the side of Torqued, apart from Poyo's at 9 and 10, but it's not like he's been tried and tested too much. It's not been too much of a problem here for the North Americans as we go into that second half to see if they can continue this hot streak. We have a bit of a technical pause here for Gambit, so we'll just be waiting for that to get resolved, but I'm sure it won't be too much of a problem.
No, they've got a problem already.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, judging by the 5 rounds, clearly.
Poor guys, but it's all right. It's a good chance to mull things over. It's a good thing to kind of, digest now what we have. This opportunity for Torqued is huge. They're very comfortable with this, right? Again, if they started T-side like I had anticipated, I would not be surprised with double digits. They've proved it before. They can have successful T-sides. Now they need to do it after already having a strong start. Because here's where I worry, right? Sure, they've had a great CT side, right? But they have notoriously thrown leads after the first half. And that's regardless of side, okay?
Yeah.
That scares me because obviously this is the hurdle that they have to come over. There was 2 issues after their performance, their first reveal at LAN last week was weak CT sides and no ability to close out games despite having advantage. Now you've solved one of 2 problems. it's from here, Torque need to just simply win out. And if they can take a pistol, then they've got Gambit against the ropes.
However, Torque are a team that, has been said they can get into their own heads. It's all about mentality with these guys. If they're feeling good, if they're feeling confident, then that's going to make a really big difference. And as we just saw on the screen there, Steel and Kusta looking pretty happy about this one. So 10-5 up on the half. Bit of utility for Torque's T-side pistol. No smokes, however. A Molotov on Kusta potentially towards that barrels on the B-bomb site. But they're going to be sending their players up towards playground early on. Hobbit aggressively on long, but he's got a lot of support coming in from his team. Hobbit making contact. Nice headshot angle, finds the first kill, but it's an instant trade, and Mo keeps things in check.
Good setup from Gambit here. Reading into this push from Torque. They did have numbers advantage, but the USP at a distance is deadly. Adren waiting for that connector come up, which sure enough walks his way, but he's lost his teammate on long. He knows his backside's susceptible, so he'll just retreat, give up the A site, or at least the bathrooms. So they think. Adren comes back in for more, and he's punished by Swag. The only player left up for Torque that actually has health to work with, and Kusta's got that utility, so he needs to survive. But Seized will try to trickle in. He too gets taken down. Now Doja's given himself away potentially. We do see the Molotov behind. He can't catch Kusta, and that's the bomb plant. Doja needs to clutch, or Torque are sailing forward here at the start of the T side. It is Swag up close, and that is the guardian of the pistol round so far.
Flash in, but Dozier's repositioned. Do they know? We've got Kusta jump spotting. He's going to have all the information. The flashbang holds back Dozier for a few more seconds. Kit has been retrieved, but Kusta has the info, and Swag's wrapping from the back line. Dozier just moving out of position in the nick of time, but he's sandwiched in between two, and Torque just aren't committing. They don't need to take the fight. The time is what they can play with, and they are doing it perfectly. Just bait peeks from Torque and wasted time for Dozier. He tries as he might, but he can't find a kill. Finally comes through, but he's sticking it. Swag's on the other side of the box. Dozier has 2 seconds left. He might just find it. Does! Swag cannot stop the defuse. And Gambit are back in this one with a pistol.
Cool, calm, and collected. Doja with the walk around. I mean, how many times did they just let him take cover, take repositions, and just try to play time? But the problem being he had that kit. No kit, easy round. Swag's got it in the bag. But he was well equipped for the situation. And that does cost Torque their pistol. Very close, and Gambit know it. A valiant effort there from Swag, but it will be Torqued. Not investing with the plant, of course. They're just going to run through a Molotov. That's 4 players down, but they still, with the element of surprise, catch off 1. Hobbit, Seized, and Doja easily sweep away the players that trickle in. But Torqued, look at the tango.
Yeah, issue is, again, Gambit had so many SMGs in that round that, yeah, Torque to find the entry, but they're not going to pick up anything of worth. An MP9 is all that they can salvage. And that's not exactly going to carry you through a round when you don't even have armor on 4 of your players. So an expected result there. Of course, that bomb plant on the first round means that Torque will be going for the early 3rd round of the half buy, and the AKs will be brought in here at 10-7. Although Gambit keeping on to a lot of SMGs, playing that bonus round as they sit with a triple rifle means Torque definitely do have an opportunity to get back in. But Connor, let's take into account Gambit have taken now both pistols and still Torque are in the lead.
Yeah, that's incredible. Incredible stuff. Now, it's an early grenade usage here from Gambit's push up on A. Nearly met by resistance here from Swag, but they're a little hesitant at this point. They're not quite sure what they're walking into. They don't have to worry about an op just yet. They will have the ability to just work with rifles. And they take long. This is going back to their pistol setup, actually. It's the exact same thing.
And I like this as well. You don't have a lot of utility if you're Torque, so hitting that B site can be a bit of a problem sometimes, not being able to clear out positions like barrels with a molly, or smoke or graffiti or heaven for Gambit to just have complete sight lines over the bomb site. But no, walking up long is a perfect position, because if Gambit try and commit to a peak with one of these SMGs, Torque are going to win that duel every single time.
Now that they have long control, we do see the connector being cleared as well, right? So they're doing this piece by piece. Now that the connector's been cleared, look at the movement over towards that B site. This is a 3-step process from Torque in order to get all the information possible. They've also moved the majority of their players into the middle of the map, leaving 1 per extremity. The rotations are open with 40 seconds up. The one lackluster aspect of this hit will be the fact that they don't have much for grenades. A double flashbang and a Molotov. And Seized is seeking to support his teammate up in bathrooms when all of a sudden Torque have changed directions. Here it is. This is, of course, them coming off of the info that B is also open. It's a monster hit out of nowhere.
Gambit went for a 4-man rotate just in time, pulling it back towards that B site. But now Torque are going to be pushing through. We need kills to come through for Gambit, and Hobbit will start things off. C's joining the fray, but with time so low, options are ticking away here for Torque. They've got to move quickly, and AZK is just not going to be able to step up to the mark. Torque getting mowed down, and the long flank from Swag would have been great if a plant came through, but that will not be the case. He does take down Mo, but it will be the round for Gambit picking up on this CT side as they start to claw their way back into this matchup.
Yeah, that was just a great call. Perfect rotation down into the B site because, of course, Torque had all the info and Gambit had to just play with intuition. They were prepared for an A site hit, seeing the way that C's had his utility out in response to his teammates' presence in bathrooms, but they did get wind of what was coming their way. They figured it out, and there was no entries. Even though Gambit did kind of give up an opportunity there, right? It was a hesitant first few kills, but look at this. Swag, walking up into the smoke with his teammates, does have that one single AK. Now, he is the first casualty, and it's an easy cleanup from Hobbit as he drops 2, but Steel responds with a double of his own and a headshot off of Kusta. It's 13 health. It's minimal, but it's a potential plant if they don't spam through smoke. Or he comes out for the duel, which he will not win. Gambit surviving with 2.
Not a big problem, though, for the side of Torqued. Again, they did 4, so they won't be able to buy up in the follow-up round, but getting 3 kills with such limitations, with only actually 1 rifle that got nothing done is, you know, okay. Thing is, we're going to have to see another eco here, so this is where Gambit can start to close up this distance, get it to 10-10. A smoke and a flashbang, a couple of sets of Kevlar and a few pistols here for Torqued. Gambit looking confident here in the second half, and it seems like it's a complete switch-up of what we've usually seen from Torqued. Strong T-sides and weak CT sides. It's now the opposite. Obviously, this round is probably going to be no different, but as we go to that next rifle round, Torqued are going to need to get back into this game before Gambit get confident.
Hobbit really wants this kill here, and Steel somehow gets out of there and picks up a kill. Now, this is going to put Seized into a bit of a situation. He actually walks through his own smoke, and he's caught off guard. This is, okay, remember, we go back to the first half. Sure, Gambit win pistol, but they convert for 3, winning the first gun round, and then losing to pistols. This would be the same instance. This is Torqued in a very similar situation to the first half. Making something out of nothing. They upgrade AZK into the M4. He is one of 3 Kevlar players. The other 2 hanging on to utility, and him as well. Now, Steel is such a liability here, but that's perfectly fine. There's still 4 more. And they are starting to creep their way down onto the B site, where we do have the vast majority of Gambit.
But look at that bomb. It's already begun its rotation. Torqued. They're just trying to keep Gambit in position here while Mo is left alone on the A bomb site, but he can start things off. Kusta, trying to get a little more info, was pushed up towards that flower bed, and Mo going to get rid of him. 30 seconds left up for Torqued, and the bomb does commit towards the A site, so this has to be the plant coming through. But the first line of defense, Mo, is looking to do exactly what Kusta did in that first half. Torqued running low on time. Swag still trying to walk into this B site to keep rotations or catch players from Gambit out of position, but 15 seconds, we need to see Torqued move. Swag not going to be able to force a rotate in this moment. Mo actually going to pull his pistol out, unsuspecting of the push to come through, but he will hit the shots, and Adren's here for support as well. Nothing found for Steel. It's Gambit to pick up their 10th. A very close round where Torqued do find the double opener to start it off, but it will be Gambit to regain composure and equal up the scoreline.
Look, Torqued are playing well with rotations, right? That's not the first time we've seen them, you know, have all the map control possible and then make these late round decisions. The problem is that Swag in both instances has come in a little too late. He's not able to commit or keep his opponents committed there, right? He's trying to hit up that B site, but already Gambit have the intuition that it's a rotate up to A, and they're correct in calling so. Ooh, incredibly close there, but Mo, he'll just careen a shot off the side of the wall through the smoke, and Torque not offering up an opening kill. Remember also last round, I would argue that if Kusta doesn't give away his presence close towards bathrooms, maybe they don't rotate a player in anticipation.
What I'm waiting for here as well is that AWP battle between Kusta and Mo. Now that we actually have the rifle rounds underway with Torqued on this T side, it's going to be pretty pivotal. If Kusta can find these opening kills like he was constantly looking down on that first half, maybe Torqued can get back into this game. It's a 5-round streak for Gambit, and already Steel looking to walk into that B site that sees dead. He's not going to commit off the back of it because he is alone, but let's see if Gambit adjusts their setup because of that. They do move a man down towards B and leave that solo A player as Adren just sits on the site. Torqued slowing the pace down, but still looking like A is the object of their desires as Adrian just spots for information. Look at Steel again. He's continuing to walk into B, continuing to keep up the pressure, and he finds a double. Even though he goes down, that's perfect for Torqued because Gambit, there's no way they're going to expect this A push to come through.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to anticipate a heavy long presence like this. Adren will get into position, and a little bit of mismatched timing allows for AZK to go down untraded. Now there is a flank coming in from behind. Hobbit strikes down Poyo. And still the bomb plant's in, but Kusta, the next casualty. This does leave Swag alone, 1v2, and he knows exactly where they're at. He needs to isolate the kills here. He needs to win both duels. It's the fake flash, the peek, and the punish. Mo getting Gambit their lead back.
Oh, classic move there for Swag, but not going to work out. He is currently the top performer for Torqued, and I've got to say, you know, in this roster, we've not been seeing him as the man to open up or the man to always be at that top of the board. It has been Kusta and Steel primarily so it's nice to see Swag come back into form of his own, but it is Gambit in the lead here, Connor. Taking that advantage, bomb plant and loss bonus built up now for the Torqued, so they can continue to buy up. Every single round of bomb plant comes in here for Torqued, they're going to be able to get full rifles and a good bit of utility. But again, no AWP. Kusta limited to that AK, and we do have Mo back on his as well as Hobbit. The double AWP pulled out here for Gambit. Are Torqued going to be able to deal with his firepower? That's the question.
Ooh, uses the edge of the smoke there to find his kill, and Steel's going to try to creep into B yet again, but doesn't want to lose this man advantage. He has been the player to pressure that B site. Now, obviously, Torque, they're in still a fine position because they have had all this time to try and figure out the defense. With a fantastic first half, they can continue to change things up, try to shake down Gambit, but Gambit holding strong. It's going to be attention to blanket both bomb sites here. Nobody quite sure as to what's coming their way.
Still plenty of time for Torque to rotate. They don't have to commit towards A, and given the position of Poyo holding off that B short rotate, it did look for a second like Torque wanted to just probe that A site, but now with the full rotate coming through, all four players here for Torqued, A is their choice. The question is, will Gambit be able to put up the kills? Mo's here with the AWP as the smoke start to section him off. He's trying to force a 1v1, trying to take down this solo man on long, and he does take down Swag. Man advantage now for Gambit, and Mo gonna go in for a little bit more. Nade as well as he fades back. He doesn't need to even peek here. They can just play for the sites because Torque are gonna have a tough time of getting back into this round. Kusta will draw back a frag, but AZK needs to do the same because still we have players here for the CT side of Gambit. Mo falling back, but AZK's on a tear. 2 kills on the site, and the AWP of Mo drops the bomb again. Kusta caught out of position means AZK needs to find the hat trick to win the round, but Mo is already on his. He'll begin to push up. 7 seconds on the clock. Bomb plant forced, and Mo's going to be there in time. He can stop it, and that is it for Gambit. 12 rounds in the 1v1. Mo will take it with 4.
I don't understand what Kusta's doing that. It's a 2 versus 2 situation. You know these players have rotated back. They've got bank. They've got garbage. He jumps across the op scope with bomb instead of planting safely behind the boxes. And then, once he realizes maybe he has the bomb, tries to jump back into the truck. And well, Mo's not going to let that happen a second time, so he punishes the kill. AZK's desperate to grab the plant, and that is a missed opportunity there for Torque because even a plant would have been enough cash for them to maybe muster together a buy. Mistakes on the A site cost them.
And still yet to get around on this T side. Let's take that into account, Connor. Things are looking difficult as again they run through the Molotov on B. It's not going to work. It's a cookout for Dozier as he just lines up a couple of kills. Hobbit and Mo joining the fray and Steel the last man up for Torqued. Hope lost in this round as the CZs are able to break their way into that B site, and Gambit continuing to show their strength on this second half. It was such a good start for Torqued into this map, but I've got to say realism has strike back.
Yeah, reality sinks in real quick. Right, there's a reason that Gambit, again, have their highest win percentage here on Overpass. Sure, they might have been caught off guard by a strong initial defense, maybe assuming that they'd be able to just stampede over Torqued. But things have gotten dire. They've had opportunities in both gun rounds and ecos, but every single time it seems like Gambit will reel those chances back in. Steel alone towards B, anticipating the peak is still taken down, put to sleep by Hobbit.
I like that off angle as well. They don't just boost up where you can get wallbanged easily from a player walking up through that tunnel. Instead, they go kind of to a left angle, Steel not predicting it. And as a result, they just take B control. Look at this push-up on the side of Gambit. They have so much information because of Dozier, and he can just sit here. They can afford to rotate, 3 players up on A in this 5-on-4. If Torque continue to walk into this, they're going to walk into their death, Connor. Poyo trying to do some damage down the connector, but he's just going to get fired back by Seized. Tempted to go for the jump, but C's going to be very careful with that one after Poyo shows his face, and Gambit, they still have so much control, so much utility, and Torque starting to tick low on time. They do look back towards this A site, but we already talked about how impactful Mo has been with this AWP. The boost does come through, and he looks for an off angle. There's the first to AZK, and he drops the bomb as well. More information for Gambit.
But Poyo's rotate up does get someone on bathroom. Unfortunately, time is going to be a problem yet again. Look at this, Hobbit. Oh my, nearly caught into the open as he just hops back in. Kusta punishes the AWP player, and that's 25 seconds to the clock with an open B-site rotation, and even the defense down here is weak. But Kusta tries to show some kind of presence. Seized will be tested here in a 1v3. He stops that bomb, and Poyo, with barely any health, can trade. But, of course, these rotators downwards in a 2v2 have the health advantage. Kusta needs to stop it, and both players spotted as the top of the boost is seen. Kusta with the flash, peeks with a Molotov. Poyo low health, he needs to clutch, and they are just coming in quickly. He's got it! Poyo with 4, Torqued with a round on the T side.
Bottom of the board the entire match is Poyo, but he steps up in one of the most important rounds for Torqued, saving the day with 4 kills, and a massive mistake from Kusta, almost costing them the round after he goes for the flash. Dren fully blinded. Kusta easily could have won that duel with the AWP, but Hobbit with the lockdown and Poyo with the day saved. The issue is again for Torqued, 4 players lost in the process. Look at the money as a result. Steel's down on a Mac 10. AZK can't even buy up past the CZ75, and we do have the AWP, but Gambit have stacks of cash to fall back on.
Yeah. Excluding some kind of an eco win or massive individual step up from Torqued, this will be their one chance to get back into the game.
Yeah.
Losing this round spells absolute disaster, and I'm sure they realize the severity of the situation.
But the slow setup again here from the T side. Gambit not going to tempt fate, not going to get aggressive here, but they do have the double setup in the toilets, plus this AWP. Very confident on the 2 players to lock down that lower site, and with 3 players up on A, they're going to be tested. Torqued beginning to push up. No smokes going through. They're just getting close positions with these CZs and Mac 10s. Mo looking for the shot. He will hit the flick. AZK's dead, and Steel with 1, but Mo quick shot on the USP, and Seized hiding in the smoke. They won't suspect the 3rd player there. He can even double back and take another frag as a man walks through the smoke. Swag just finding the angle, and damage separated both ways. Swag going to fall on back, so the pressure is on Poyo to step up again, but he can only get 1 more. Swag dropped as well, and Gambit, there it is, 14-11. The hard reset to the economy of Torqued. And with no bomb plant, no loss bonus, and with all their cash spent in the previous round, it's back down to peanuts for the North Americans.
Yeah, unsalted peanuts at that. Mo swaps to the sidearm. Just a clean little sweep. I mean, if you thought Kusta's AWP play on the A site was impressive, you know, Mo's kind of making him sit down right here. It is a complete and utter shutdown, and there have been rounds where he wasn't really pressured. Maybe sure, okay, he has smoke grenades at his feet, but they haven't done a very good job of blinding him on the entries. I would even say, like, get a Molotov behind those boxes, force him into the open, right? That's something that they haven't been able to do. They haven't been able to get him out from behind the dice box, and because of that, he's just having a field day. And he's hitting 6 shots on top of it, right? That first flick is onto somebody that he didn't think had already gotten so close. And yet, sure enough, he shuts them down. So really, really good stuff here by Mo, because if they're able to get this A site, then Torqued have had more so openings down there. And now it's desperation here, Hugo. Single AK, CZs and Kevlar bought up, and Gambit fighting for that 15th round.
Again, no utility for Torqued. It's not like it could be any worse. Poyo is looking for the entry in the connector, but Gambit have conceded that position for now. Instead, they take aggressive control towards the toilets on both long and short. The bomb's still outside of B here for Torqued, so maybe a late game plan after they show initial presence on A. You don't want to just completely commit to that B site without any connector control, any kind of split. Seized again, lurking in the smoke, being dangerous, allowing them to walk past, and they won't check the corner. One for Seized, gives away his position, but Dozier has still got the lineup as well. He'll get blindsided, shot from the back line as Kusta gets one with the CZ75, but it just won't be enough, Connor. 2 players left here for Torqued. They're going to need a big old round.
Oh, that's big right there. Poyo's got his hands on the AK, and he shuts down that first player. Now, they need to figure out where the second is at. It's both players on graffiti. Poyo hits another headshot, and they have themselves an advantage. Mo, having a smoke and flash, could start sectioning this off. But with an AWP, things are going to get tricky here. This could be Torqued with a second chance. And Mo's just going to creep. He's going to walk slightly closer. Kusta, oh no, Kusta He's up on side the site. He's been tagged down as he falls into the water. He's dropped. It falls onto Pollo. 2 kills for him already. And with a smoke on site, it's going to be the 5-second stick. It's a flash in his hands. Pollo lines this up. And it's Mo off the bomb. Mo's going to try yet again. But 2 seconds is left and Pollo wins the round.
Mo would have won that if he stuck the bomb. For some reason, getting off gave the opportunity to Pollo to find that kill. There was enough time for the defuse and Pollo missed the spray in the smoke, but Mo gives him the opportunity. A very awkward round for Gambit, and Connor, 2 rounds ago you said if Talked don't win this one buy round, apart from an eco win or a lucky round, they're out of the game. Now they're back in, now it's still on. They've won the round with a single rifle and the 4CZ buy, and frankly, this is a reality once again, 14-12. Gambit, they do still have a bit of money to invest. But how will they choose to do this? They've gone for a tactical pause, take a second to consider the situation and the gravity of it as well, because we're into a situation where Gambit have the option of forcing up and trying to continue this force by war, or taking a plain eco, allowing Talk to get closer to that map point, and then just buying up with full rifles and going in for the hard buy.
And there's the decision made. Nothing invested. Not a single cent has been spent. Gambit, as vanilla as it gets. And what'll they try with those USPs? Well, they'll head out towards Long A, where they'll find nothing other than the bomb. Kusta? No. Walk away. Just walk away, man. That is a huge liability right now.
Gambit aren't getting aggressive, they're waiting for contact, that's the thing. As soon as Talk make their way up towards A long, if that does happen, Gambit are going to be in a very good position to get a couple of kills with this minimal or non-existent investment. But Talk to bypassing this position. If they walk up 8 short right now, the site is under their control. Yes, Gambit may surprise them with having a quad stuck up towards long and looking for the retake, but will Talk check to their left once they come out through the toilets? Pollo needs to look, and he does spot the players. At least a couple have been noted by Talk, but they need to be aware. Kusta's trying to catch them on the wrap as they move back through the party, and he finds 3. Talk, not losing a man. And if there was any round they needed a flawless one, that was it.
Yep, most definitely. That did get shaky, though. Good job there, obviously, by Kusta. He kept his attention towards Fountain for the longest time, and then once Pollo was able to get his exit on long and spot that, I mean, Pollo had to see the tail end of that, because if not, Kusta, the bomb carrier, gets killed from behind, and it's very difficult to get back from bathrooms into party control as T's once you are, of course, over the threshold. But it's guns. It's back into what Gambit used for a momentous CT side.
And if Talk win this single round, Gambit still don't have that full loss bonus. Talk will be at 14-14 with Gambit having no money. This is the most important round for Talk here. They win this, they might just take the game here and now.
It's a fallback off of A. No one wants to be that first casualty. Mo not actually on the A bomb site, and instead he's on long A. Now what this changes is it allows for these 3 Ts who are already starting to push up through bathrooms to find the bomb site near undefended. They only have to get past the Dren. He has a UMP. But because of timing, we do see, of course, that op fall back. So now Mo is in a prime position, a spot that he has succeeded with already. And this time, he's going to miss his opening chance. He sees the gun, but he's lost his teammate, and he sits on 10 health. This would be incredible from Mo. And he's already started it with 1, but Pollo's frag grenade clears the bomb site, and now Torque have a very real chance. And of course, the flank is covered. Steel spots connector.
And Gambit now need to make the decision, do we go or do we save? The money is in a dire spot. They're a man down there out of the site, no utility and no kit. This should be a round they hold onto their weapons. Otherwise, as we said just this round prior, Torque can just completely mow over Gambit and maybe take this victory, but this save gives Gambit another opportunity. Although Talked are realizing it, and Steel certainly so begins to hunt through the T-spawn looking for these exiting Gambit players. He may be met with a couple as well. Spotted on the legs, definitely has to be careful there as Dozier gets a bit of a tag. And Gambit don't want to give Talked too much control as Dozier baits. He does have support from Hobbit as well towards the top of the ladder. And Talked are just going to hold onto their guns, knowing that, yeah, their money isn't great either. So it's a 14-14. Gambit saving 3 rifles going forward. And now this is what could be the penultimate round, unless we see overtime here. Money is an issue for Gambit. And as we saw in the previous round where they had, you know, a mixed bag of chips, they had the UMP on Adrian. It's not going to be enough. They need to win this one.
Smoke in his eyes, not a problem. Pollo just chucks the frag over the boxes, clears the bomb site. And that's what they needed, right? They needed to use utility in order to make Mo uncomfortable. And Mo also, crucially misses that first shot. He was so preoccupied with the barrel of the AK-47 there from Poyo, he doesn't anticipate the other players pushing up so fast.
And then he gets the leg right on the second player. Without that leg, it's a 3-on-3. If he finds that kill, even if he goes down, that's a round where Gambit can consider retaking. But unfortunately for them, it is not. However, this is now the buy round once more for Gambit. Pretty decent utility, all things considered, but they do have Famises, only one M4 and no AWP. And again, I don't think I need to say it anymore. Mo has been the man to watch out for. 30 kills right now on Overpass. He is the reason Gambit had this game so close, but without his signature weapon, this could be a problem. Talked again towards B here. Poyo clearing the connector, doesn't check his left angle, and Seized will find that first kill. Talked looking to just maybe execute off the back of that, walk straight into the B site before Gambit get a bit of an idea of what's going on. And Hobbit smoking himself off on the site, jumping up on top of the boxes, and the bomb plant coming in. Hobbit, he might hear this, but he can't find the shot through the smoke. The bomb plant cancelled by Dozier with the UMP, and now Talk with only 3 players left up.
Oh my, AZK only getting one there, but Kusta still from the back lines, tries to support and leaves Steel 1 versus 3. The hit has gone awry, but Steel arrives just in time to get at least 1 kill, catching Hobbit off guard, blindsiding him, of course, and then fading back through smoke. Now, the biggest problem, of course, is bombs down on site. Seized still sees it, and Steel wants it back. He will have to melt this bomb site defense. They have a crossfire set. He needs to check to his right, and he's not going to do it. Seized, catching him off guard, and Gambit securing OT at the very least.
And with that mixed buy of Famises as well, they may even be able to save the AWP from the body of Kusta down in the pit. So Gambit are just getting everything from this. AKs, AWPs saved, money that Talked don't have. As it has been a streak of 3 for Talked, so this is a reset of the loss bonus. Luckily enough, they had a bit of saved money from those previous anti-forces from Gambit. And no AWP save for Gambit, so there's another positive, at least for Talk, to try and bring this to overtime. But Gambit is still looking confident now. Adren trying to take a bit of a fight towards the fountain, but the smokes are down, and he doesn't want to get separated from his teammates, so he falls back and joins up. Talk beginning to take some control back towards fountain. And using a fair bit of utility while doing so. Only a couple of players towards B, but is that a bit of a boost down on the Sandbox? It is. Hobbit has a lot of information down towards B long now, but as we know, Steel has been a bit of a nuisance here up on short, so they have to be ready for that push. Talk assimilating and holding on for the time being as they wait for Gambit to make a decision to see if Gambit get aggressive.
This is the second impressive boost I've seen from Gambit. Oh, Steel has made himself a window of opportunity, and he smashes it out of the pane. Torque turning into a train as they rapidly move down into the B-bomb site, but Gambit, of course, are here. That's another frag from Swag. Adren and Seized are all that's left here in order to close in regulation. If not, it's overtime, baby.
It seems like as every second ticks past, that seems to be more and more likely. Gambit giving it their best shot. Boost up from AZK will grab his teammate, and there it is. Seized in a 1v5. Not going to happen. We'll go into overtime here, and map number 1 of DreamHack Open Tour. Couldn't be a better way to start it off.
Steel just still bamboozled at what he found. A gem here as the totem pole toppled.
And he even kills the first player on the top as well. The player that wasn't even looking towards him. Those who are on the bottom had his eye on Steel, but he wasn't able to find that kill.
That's huge. That is so huge. Of the last 7 rounds in that T side, Torque wins 5. And all 5 of their T rounds come in the final 7. Talk about leaving it to the last possible moment. I mean, they've made an opportunity for themselves, but they certainly haven't closed things out just now. I mean, that was a very lackluster start to a T side. They've had time to figure it out. And I do like that play that they've been going for, where they use 2 players into Fountain, 1 to watch Playground, solo B with Steel, and a solo connector player. That to me is the way that they've been able to establish map control most successfully. And I anticipate that as Torque will continue this T side, they'll try that again. I mean, here's the saving grace for Torque, right? It's the fact that we just watched them win again 5 of the last 7 T rounds, and they will continue that T side. So they've solved the issue. They had such a massive buffer because of a 10-5 start, and they've had that opportunity to now make it roll.
Yeah, that's also Gambit get 8 in a row, right? So definitely a good comeback for Torqued. And another factor, again, we've been talking about it a lot this matchup. Now we go into OT, where money isn't going to be as big of a problem. And the two top fraggers for both sides are the Orbs. Kusta on 24, Mo on 30. Now they can just continue to buy them up. And in fact, Gambit want 2 of them. Hobbit was able to pick it up in the CT side once, but we didn't see anything from it in that half. But now we're going to see if that comes back to bite Torqued. If they're aware of it, if they're ready for it. Gambit set up into the 31st round. 3 players down on this B bomb site, and it's been constant that we've seen 3 on A for Gambit, so a bit of a switch up, maybe expecting a faster approach from Torqued, but they won't walk into it. It's Mo down on long where Torqued look to contest. Flash over the top does blind him, and he has to fall back. And there we go, bit of map control for Torqued.
They've got something to work with. Obviously not wanting to offer up an early frag. The first offer falls back. Hobbit's still very curious here down towards Monster, but Steel offers nothing in return, other than patience, and what Hobbit could assume is an open B site. But assuming so in this situation could be costly. Now that they have connector cleared, they've got bathrooms as well in their hands. We could see Torqued actually throw a fake volley of nades into the A site and then rotate quick down connector. That's exactly what's going to happen. And of course, the B site rotation is starting to move a little bit back. Although Hobbit will not get the kill. Steel survives. And now the pressure's on.
Molotov's down though. Gambit holding onto this utility for so long is going to keep Torqued out of the site. It allows these CTs to start to move into position, but the kills are coming through, and all in favor of Torqued as well. Poyo and Kusta opening up, and the bomb site has been conceded by Gambit. They're going to give it a go on the retake here, but they need quick kills to try and contest. Steel in the smoke, almost going to get decapitated by Mo, but his teammate instead moves into position. Sees running right by, but there's 2 players there. Still Gambit finding frags, but Torqued with the man advantage held on. Mo needs to find more, but he's double scoped down up onto the site at least, and Poyo going to grab another kill. More impact into this overtime as Adren. He needs to find the 1v2, and time is playing against him. Poyo commits to it, but it's Swag with a trade to find the first round of OT for Torqued.
Again, these B-site entries are definitely where they're starting to succeed now. I would argue that, go back to regulation, right? Their first few rotates on the T side and how slow they were. Kind of coming into the bomb site with 10 seconds left and losing because Gambit had a read on the situation. This time, that A-site presence immediately down connector right into the B-bomb site where they just flood forward. And most notably, it's Poyo who's stepping up. He was the only player trailing behind, but now every single individual on Torqued is starting to fire off. And Adren has something to say. He fires back with not only 1, but 2.
And even further damage to Kusta as well. A quick response from Gambit. And a double man advantage into this round. Torqued are going to fire back with nades of their own towards the B site as Gambit showed on their T side, but it won't work out. However, the wallbang line up perfectly, but Caesar's going to hit the shot. Torqued again, further complications as 2 players are left standing for the T side. And still Gambit not pressured here. So much utility, so much time. Although that spot's going to be good from Kusta, Hobbit's going to have to reposition as he's very open on the site. Sees has his right angle covered, but with a flash in his hand, Steel gets a double. This is massive for Torqued. They've somehow turned a 2v5 into a 2v2. And with a bomb down and Gambit left for the retake on an orb, this could be Torqued's.
Both CTs as well trying to come in quickly from Graffiti. Kusta's going to nail another to the wall, and he wants the last, but Adren's going to try to put a stop on this. He sits on 3 frags, not 4. Steel seals the deal, and Torqued with a second in overtime.
A 2v5, Connor. Gambit with complete control over the B site. Enough incendiaries to burn out for the remainder of the time, and they still can't even win the duels. C's caught out with a flash in his hand, and Steel just a massive triple kill on that B site. So much impact here into overtime. And Gambit again, they didn't go for it in the previous round, but they're bringing it in for the final one of the half. Double AWP. The 2 top performers for Gambit pulling those in, and Adren again looking for some aggression. He found that 2-man advantage in the previous round. He's looking to do the same, but Swag is going to open up this time. No early pick for the side of Gambit. Instead, it is that of the North Americans. And Steel again looking to be a nuisance on this lower bomb site, beginning to probe in, beginning to sneak his way to B. Dozier plays a nice angle. Can get a shot off and fall back. He's not really a huge threat from this position. He should have the kill, but he gets dinked in the process through the edge of the wall. So trade back at the very least for Gambit. It comes at a cost, and Mo's back on long with the AWP up against Kusta. They could line up, but Kusta wins the duel.
That's key. Although Poyo will lose his fight versus Seized, who gets himself a chance at an exit. Oh no. His flashbang bounces back into his face. That was meant to slow down this rotation, but instead it just moves in so quick. Seized, still maintaining some kind of map control towards washrooms, but on such little health. A single round could take him down from any of these guns. And Doja the same. However, the bomb plant's been offered over. Torqued looking for a clean sweep of the T side in overtime. And it's not over yet. They've got an advantage, surely. But the Molotov pushes the feet of Kusta and his teammate into the barrel of Doja, who drops both bodies, puts it onto Swag, trying to clutch this out, outnumbered! It's not gonna happen! Doja with a third, and something for Gambit to work with.
That was such a nice play from Torque, though, in the post plant. They know that Seized is on their toilet side, so instead of just leaving the open plant for Seized to actually stop, they plant on the bank side of the map and try and take control towards the CT spawn. The issue was there, the Molotov that actually forced those two players forward into the feet of Doja. If they weren't forced to, go for that fight, Doja would have been the one initiating contact, and on 16 points of health, he surely would have lost that duel. It's a Molotov from Seized that actually wins them the round, and that will be Gambit at least getting one in the first half of overtime. But will it be enough, Connor? That is the question.
I mean, the Molotov definitely is what, kind of prompted them to push in, but looking at that replay from Doja's kills, there was space for them to still sit inside bank, not on the stairs itself, not pushing into Doja, who is obviously just going to commit to a mow down, because if he takes a single bit of damage, he's done. I believe he finishes the round on 8 HP. So a minute difference maker there does give Gambit, again, one round to play with. But 2 of 3 rounds is still more so than what we saw, of course, in regulation, where both teams picked up 5 of 15, 1/3. So they are more so par for the course. Torqued will defensively take a stance towards B. 3 players stacked on the bomb site, and of course, this is just going to be Gambit clearing out the majority of the map, going through the initial motions, as Torqued, not so reserved with their utility, try to find something, and what they meet is Seized, still playing the double op, despite being on the T side.
Yeah, apparently Hobbit not a fan of that anymore, so Seized taking the mantle, and it will certainly work out for that first pick. Now Torqued in a position where they want to trade it back. They want to bring it into a 4-on-4, so Poyo takes some control towards the toilet. Smoke is down, but it begins to dissipate. Now he might be pushed at least by Dozier. Close. Dozier with a great shot. Dink is not enough. And now, double man advantage for Gambit. Adren still pushed up towards his A site, and no one here. Torqued had given it away. They've got all 3 players on the wrong read on the other half of the map. Will they even be able to win this retake? It seems unlikely with the amount of map control that Adren holds, and Steel not ready for that push-up. Adren doubles down. And with that, it's just Swag left up with the AWP, looking to move on to that B site and save this gun for a rainy day, because right now, Gambit have found their 17th and equaled up the score.
Yeah, $16,000 start money, of course, here at overtime. So, double op's always viable. Reinvestments can be made. Not a single kill, though. That's scary. Gambit swapping over. Sending a message back towards Torqued. Although, of course, the difference minute. Doja barely alive there.
And that's a duel that if Poyo wins as well, Torqued have a lot of pressure removed. Not only that, but they can appropriately rotate to the site in time. It was late rotations that got Torqued in an awkward spot, and they weren't aware of the map control that Gambit possessed, such as Adren pushed into that bank. And now it is 1st to 19 here out of the next 2 rounds. If we split 18-18, we go to another overtime, and frankly, this game couldn't be closer. Again, the double up still remains strong for the T side, but now Torqued for the first time pulling one of their own. Steel on that CT AWP. Torqued looking to get aggressive here. Gambit maybe challenged. It's actually just toilets control for the CT side as Steel's down in the connector. We've seen him here with the rifle before, but now with the AWP, something that hasn't been shown from Torqued throughout the entirety of this game. Hobbit needs to be very, very careful.
Ooh, great flat. Oh, he hits it. Seized. Nearly dropped here towards Monster. So the support comes off of the CT side. Again, we're going to see this similar setup with, of course, AZK all the way in the back corner, and then Swag playing anti-flash up close. So that's great if all of a sudden Gambit just come parading through. However, it does leave you susceptible to a short push. So I would argue it's very important for that third player, Steel, to leave connector and try to lock that down, because as he exits, he realizes it's open for the taking.
One of the big points of why Gambit didn't get so many rounds on that first T half was due to Torqued just locking down the B site. That is where Gambit loved to play on this T side. And now maybe looking back towards the B site, they need to have success this time. Talked again, still keeping this setup strong with the anti-flash from AZK, and the AWP from C's cannot find a pick as Talked are not giving him an inch. Molotov holds him back for a little more time as we start to reach the 35-second mark, and AZK just waits for contact as Swag holds the tight corner. There's the peek, turn around for Swag, and he lines up one, but Hobbit's there with a trade. Now we need a man on the site to at least get it done, and Steel starts it off, but still Seized is poised on his angle. He won't be ready for the frag, and Seized now taking the man advantage back for Gambit, leaves Talked in a 2-on-3 for the retake.
Poyo has been fantastic in these B sites when he was on the T side, but now it's on the retake that he needs to step up and above. Begins with a headshot onto C's, but leaves this in the hands of Kusta as he falls down into the water. He misses a second flick, and Doja finishes it off. Gambit now on map point, and Torqued fighting for their lives.
Yeah, and that's just Gambit reading the setup again on this B bomb site. The constant anti-flash that Torqued have been continually playing, Gambit have finally read on. Very expectant of the positions that Talked were holding down towards that lower site, and now, again, double up for both teams. So much in this map. Talked trying to pull us through to a second overtime, and again, Steel back down towards Connector, a bit of aggression up on the party. Kusta looking for the kill, but he gets spotted by the AWP, so instantly reels back. Doesn't want to give away that man advantage, but Steel has no fear of getting aggressive. However, with Hobbit on the other side, if Steel sneaks into this, the gun barrel of the AWP could give a bit of time for Hobbit to react. Sneaking round, and Steel wins the duel. Massive for Talked. He's even got support towards the toilet, so Gambit can't really come down the stairs and punish him, although Steel looks to back off. And the timing may just be perfect to allow him to fall back into this 5-on-4, with Talked maintaining the control of the A site.
Really nice change up from Steel in order to get that opening pick, because he was playing Connector with an op last round. He spotted somebody, who it was Hobbit, back towards ladder, but instead of walking forward for the pick, he put down a smoke grenade, anticipating that the Connector player might actually push him. This time, he goes for the push, knowing that Hobbit's just playing patient, as done in the previous round, and what's the reward? A 5 versus 4. Steel looking to make this furthermore, but he can't get that second shot, and now he's facing flashbangs. He's gonna still try to work this angle. He wants these kills, and he's lucky to be alive, but he's missed a crucial shot, and time begins to tick. Steel somehow still around here.
Close peek, though, is going to be good enough. Adren in the sky takes down Steel, who is already low HP. And we're back into the 4-on-4. Poyo trying to move to the truck, but the Molotov keeps him in the open, and he'll go down to C's. Kusta trying to wrap through the smoke as well, but he's going to get so tagged up. We need a hero play here for Talked. We need someone to step up, and Kusta's going to try and be that man, but not enough ammo in the clip. He has to get the reload in, and Swag will find the frag to put it down to the 1-on-2. Adren with no time left, 8 seconds and 2 kills needed. He'll find the first. The white peak saves it from Swag, and we're going to another overtime here on Overpass.
It is not over yet. Not over yet. Successful T-sides, of course, here in overtime. Players starting to step up. Incredibly close as could be. These are 1 versus 1 situations forcing overtimes, Hugo. What more could you want?
We said we wanted a close game, Connor, but I'm not going to lie, I wasn't predicting double overtime for the first game of the day, with Talk showing so much resilience, even when it looks like they're down, even when Gambit have these advantages. Look back to that 5-on-2 back on the B side, when Talk were on the T side. If they didn't win that round, they wouldn't be here now. Hero efforts. There's another attempt to take the victory here. The buy coming through, I'm expecting more orbs, maybe even 4. But no, both teams settling back to 1 each.
Wanted to play the rifle rolls, a little bit more mobility this way. Remember, Torque did start off with such a great CT side. That's where they began the success story that they look to finish. The final chapter being written now by Kusta, who gets himself the opening kill. It does not come by way of Connector this time, no. It is over the top of smoke through party. And Hobbit, well, he's chasing ghosts. Steel is nowhere to be found. Although he had consistently played Connector previously in the first OT. Can Kusta double down? Can he mow this into a 5 versus 3 situation to start off double overtime? He's flashed. And he's not willing to gamble the position. Both players fading back. And if anything, Kusta and Poyo have played fantastically together towards A-site.
Yeah, that's a frag you just don't need to take. If you get flashed off that angle in Kusta's position with a man advantage, there's no pressure on Talked here. With the time ticking away, Gambit are the ones who need to pull this into a 4-on-4. So Kusta's fine with giving up the angle and repositioning back towards the A site. Gambit grouped up on long for now. It does give Poyo a good position, because now, although he's not going to be tested in the toilets, he can come back in with a couple of kills when Gambit take the site. Kusta close in the smoke. He'll swap positions, looking for more in the sky, but he's not going to be able to follow up. Gambit have taken control of the site, but it's Poyo's position that they need to expect. They need to be prepared of. The bomb on the other side of the site, but they won't check back towards the toilets, and Poyo whiffs the spray. That may cost the round for Torque.
That's huge. Not only does Seize survive, but it allows for Mo to peek out and punish that position towards the bathroom. Still now, they do not have them sandwiched. It is going to have to be the expected route from Torque. Gambit anticipating this kind of a push. Doja's going on the hunt, though, and he doesn't mind. He drops both players. Doja does it again.
That's a start Gambit needed here. If they wanted to take this convincingly, they need to take that first round in OT. Again, Torque CT sides have been fantastic. A completely different team to what we've been seeing in recent performance on Overpass. So for Gambit to start things off on their T side, definitely points towards good things in the future. We do have that double AWP back out, but again, it's back in the hands of Hobbit, not Seized. As they shuffle guns around, Torque only have the one AWP on Kusta.
What's wild in that last round as well is that Steel gets taken down over the shoulder of Kusta. So Kusta's put into such an awful position, right? It's not like he can hide behind the boxes like we saw Mo doing when he would single-handedly shut down A-site pushes. Kusta was just so committed due to Steel's death. And again, right, he drops one body with the no-scope. It's the fact that the player in the back line is flailing through the sky. He's unable to connect a follow-up shot. Ooh, lucky to be alive in this instance. Kusta tagged off long. They might not anticipate Poyo, who is still up close here, Seized. His shadow gets him away, and still he hits that shot? Poyo versus Steel, or Seized. Back-to-back rounds, Hugo. Seized barely comes out on top.
Even with a reposition from Poyo as well, it's just not going to work out. Kusta is so low, and that Molotov's going to give Mo an opportunity to find another kill. More damage done, as Steel's going to need a big impact frag or two here because he's down men. 5-on-3 here as the contact's made to the site, and again the utility from Gambit is sublime. They nade out Steel, they molly out AZK, and Swag on the other side of the map wants nothing to do with this. It's Gambit finding 2 rounds in a row on the T side, finding life in this half that has been such a struggle for them in the past. Swag, exits don't even matter. They've got the money to play with. Gambit's going to find 20 rounds flawlessly.
Yeah, Gambit are definitely starting to isolate this A site much more than they were during regulation, right? It was a consistent B target from Gambit, and they have swapped things up in OT, where they have been successful. Mo having dealt damage with the AWP, finding those picks. Doja sealing the deal. C's just being so quick on his feet and getting past Poyo, who has been robbed now, again, 2 rounds in a row. The first time, all right, the spray down, that's his own fault. As the train passes by, Hobbit and Doja side by side with that bomb just close behind them. They will change things up going to the B site. Look at the push from Torque. They have 3 players up on Party. And now how do you get down to B? If all of a sudden B is hit, if all of a sudden Gambit call the execution, then they need connector control. And if Torque can't take connector, then I don't think Torque take a round in this second OT.
Oh, the whiff shot though, Kusta's dead. Luckily enough, Torque do still have aggressive position towards the A site, but C's expects it. He checks back towards the Party. No one getting a frag, but that's valuable information for Gambit, who now know the A players are uprooted. They will go back down towards B, where AZK gets dropped by the AWP, and Swag, he needs to step up. It seems like Torque not hitting their shots in the CT side of overtime. Swag going back in for more. They're all blind. He can mow them down. He finds 2. Poyo repositioning, drops the bomb as well, and now Torque have an opportunity. A 2-on-2 with a flank coming late through connector, Seized again, proving to be impactful. Fast on his feet, as you say, and now Steel needs to be the same. They haven't picked up the bomb from the site, and so Steel takes the time to get into it. Trying to get close, trying to isolate a 1v1. He will get spotted, and that will be C's taking the final frag. 3 on the T side there for Gambit, a flawless half, and we need the exact same from Torqued if we want this game to continue.
Yeah, the first time in overtime as well, we get that clean 3-round sweep. So never has Torque been this hard pressed against the ropes. C's being vocal, Steel the same, and game leaders trying to figure one another out. Very crucial that Seized actually is given that chance to exit up through Party into the bathrooms, because then think about it, right? Seized comes out from connector, moves into top Party. Poyo goes from Party into connector in order to stop that first bomb carrier, but then who's behind him? Seized, of course. He does come in towards the end of the round, clearing it out, and they knew exactly where Steel was at. They had figured out his position, his attempt at a sneak into B, and now Torque having to do the unthinkable here. 3 straight rounds, or a heartbreaking loss for them in what has been a great performance so far. They have taken Gambit the distance, and then some.
The AWP to play with on Kustra, of course. As Torque worm their way up towards connector. No one's splitting this party. And Gambit, in fact, have heavily rotated down towards this lower site, leaving just one man. That is the AWP. But again, we've seen Mo, under pressure, step up to the mark, at least, on this A site before. And Torque are going to make him pressured again. Already Gambit beginning to rotate as they suspect something to be underway here for Torque. Mo delaying the push with a smoke towards the toilets, keeps these T's back for just a few more seconds. And again, the same setup Torque has been showing throughout this T side. Steel still lurking down on B, and with Gambit with very aggressive positioning through Monster. Steel in a position where if Gambit overstep this, he gets a pick.
Funny enough, this is the exact same setup Torque were using on their CT side with that deep monster player, but they have decided to change things up just as Torque are on the other side. Now, this is an awkward spot for me. When you're riding that wall, there is time before your aim resets, but they all go past. Doja's amongst them! And he doesn't get a kill for his efforts. It's Poyo stepping up again. These players lucky to be alive. And yet, it's Adren who arrives in time to stop that initial push. Poyo's down, and Adren with another. It leaves it onto the shoulders of Mo, who's looking to seal the deal. Walking in slowly, creeping and crawling his way to the bomb site, trying to catch these players off guard, both of which have repositioned. Swag incredibly tagged. Kusta here to support with a Molotov to note. Mo, he's got the kit, but he doesn't have a smoke. And now he's going to try to force these peeks. Sure enough, they start to come. Flash goes high, the peek not spotted. Mo nearly gets a collateral.
That would have been a way to end the game.
Jesus.
Well, Torque given a lifeline here in overtime. Another opportunity as they find their first T-side round. But again, coming down to the wire here, we need more. 2 more, in fact, for the 3rd overtime in the first map of the day. This has gone on long enough, Gambit think. They want to close this out here again, and now they pull in the single AWP. Hobbit not going to be joining Mo on this one for the first time in a while. Again, the aggressive Molotov to hold back. Torque to Mo. He goes aggressive himself. The counter AWP at the T-side dead, and Mo doubles down. Poyo with the trade. But it's only a 1 for 2, favoring Gambit. In the meantime, Steel knows that he can sneak into this B site, but they're throwing in nades, they're trying to keep him back, they won't be able to. Steel equalizing the situation, but the flank is coming through from Hobbit, and not heard by Steel means Hobbit has a great opportunity to strike. As the smoke begins to dissipate, Steel becomes uneasily open. The higher position up on Heaven, though. Steel's going to miss the spray, and Seized wins the duel. Now, still with Hobbit down towards B. If Torque want to commit to this site, Hobbit's position could just save the game here for Gambit.
This is going to be huge. I mean, look how unsuspecting Swag is. He needs to realize this could have happened, that someone could have pushed up, but Hobbit's just going to play it cool. Calm, collected, and eventually successful. That's the bomb carrier now. He wants another. Hobbit, not like this. It's cruel, but it's not over. Poyo, he's down, and Gambit seal it out. Cerebral play from Hobbit, sneaking his way behind enemy lines. Steel tries to do the same, but Gambit come out on top. They have gone through a trial and a tribulation here to kick off tours. An eventual win from the Kazakhstani side.
And not without issues along the way, but fantastic work from Gambit to actually come back at one point looking like Torque could have taken that game in the first overtime, but no, it is going to be the way of the Kazakhstani. The CIS team get the victory there, but Torque, again, despite taking the loss in the first match of the day, they've got to hold their heads high. It was a valiant attempt. They brought it all the way down to the wire, and although they fall short, there's plenty more opportunities in this group stage for them to still find success.
Again, we mentioned 2 things they had to improve on based on their initial LAN showing last weekend, right? It was a good CT side, and then it was the ability to close out a game after a successful first half. We said they got the CT side in the bag. They barely flopped right? In that second half, they nearly just straight up lose. They claw their way in those final 7 rounds. They force overtime. They take it the distance. The most successful game we have actually seen from Torqued, and yet they still fall short. It's a heartbreak for them, but it is of course a great first showing here in France.
Yeah, and again, like I don't think this is the end of Torqued, to be honest. I think they have plenty more opportunities. We may be seeing them find victories later on, but for now, we're going to be sending off to the desk to see if they can break that one down. It was a banger, guys.
That's right, 21-19. Gambit just about claw that victory over the bodies of Torqued. We predict... No, we didn't. No one predicted
it was completely
that.
expected.
What's going on? That's absolute insanity. How did it pan out the way it did? Blair, maybe you can start us off.
Well, the first half, firstly, right, you got to give credit where it's due. I think Torqued played they had some very interesting setups. Kusa especially, I did mention that he had to really step up, and it was doing the floating op role very, very well. But let's talk a bit about Gambit. It's Overpass, a map that's supposed to be very comfortable on. Yes, I get it, their T-set's not the best, but it was so very predictable. Like, they underwent very fast B plays where they had no presence anywhere around the map, and then when they had to go for the A play, it was a very easy read for Torqued, especially with someone with Steel's caliber. He had a pretty good read on them, at least on trying to read their T side.
Yeah, it's not only the read either. It's I feel like just the pure executes once Gambit was committing to the bomb site that was lackluster. They were giving far too much room to players like Kusta, for example, to be maneuvering around. He was never really pressured. He was not getting flashed or mollied out of position where he ends up in a position where he's getting crossfired. A great example right here. He's just sliding on them in toilets and banana.
Yeah, Kusta's looking
one by one
really
by one getting pushed in. Here, though, we have Mo, on the other hand, having a similar opportunity. And he used all 3 opportunities. I think he ends up with a 4K in this round, actually. Yeah. Gets the last one that was planted a bomb. But no, in the big picture, though, like the T-side issue for Gambit, I felt like for a lot of it, was the fact that they made it far too simple for Torqued to actually defend the bomb sites.
Well, it seemed definitely like it was a story of both teams doing the right things at times, but then also making some crucial mistakes. For instance, it was that 10-5 CT half to Torqued, and Gambit definitely could have gotten some of those rounds. They lost, I think, was it 1 or 2 ecos that kind of spiraled them a bit and damaged their economy. But nonetheless... On the other side of things, thanks, Adrian. On the other side of things, they were able to show that they could stay composed and then win it out in a double overtime. So how do we balance those things out in terms of performance?
No, I mean, you got to look at it and think, obviously, Gambit was the massive favorite going into this game, but in the big picture, you still realize that Gambit is a team that's not really found its mold. They did have a great showing at Marseille, but in the big picture, they've kind of been trying to look for how do we actually play this game. So, you can expect if the right rounds go the way of Torqued, that it definitely get dicey. But in the end, you saw, obviously, Mo having that massive performance. I think he was borderline getting 40 kills in that game, right?
Yeah.
That's always going to be helping when he's given those opportunities in situations where he can impact and get the first kills of the round. That's going to make a difference. On the other hand, you felt like on the overtimes, especially for me, Torqued were a little bit too aggressive at times because, as we saw, when they were turtling on the bomb sites, Gambit really didn't have the answers because their executions were just kind of lackluster. So I felt like Torqued was giving away far too many kills in the early part of the rounds for Gambit towards the tail end of it. So they felt like they had to make the plays, whereas actually they didn't really. They needed to just play the bomb sites and let Gambit spend as much utility as possible before they were going into the bomb sites because those attacks were not really doing a lot of damage.
I also kind of feel like Torqued would be kind of kicking themselves right now because here's the thing, Gambit, they managed to take it to overtime because there were a lot of rounds where there were a lot of big individual heroic plays coming out from the players. Like we're talking about Mo, for example. Adrian was nowhere to be found, firstly, in the first half. But in the second half, so many clutches went the way of Gambit. And for Torqued now to lose that in such a heartbreaking fashion, as Arcasa said it earlier, I think they're going to be a little disappointed, but at the same time, there's a lot to take away from this. I did not expect the showing from them. And also, if you look at the final scoreboard, the frag difference between the top fragger and the team, I think it was... I think it was Kusta who was top fragging, but even if you look at the bottom fragger, I think it was Poyo. It was like 3 or 4 frags different. So as a team, I think they really showed what they could do.
Yeah, and I definitely think in another situation that could have been Torqued's game. For instance, when we were watching that second pistol round and Dosia stuck that defuse, and there seemed to be some confusion. If that had gone in favour of Torqued, maybe 3 extra rounds for them and they could have closed out in regular time. Now, 100% of us here on the desk predicted Gambit to win it. They did, maybe in a closer fashion than we thought. And you guys in Twitch chat voted as well. And we also had a vote going on the Strafe Esports app. And I remember before the match, it was about 80% of you thought that Gambit would win. So congratulations to you guys, and keep on voting there and in our Twitch chat. If I'm not mistaken, we are shortly going to be speaking to a representative from Gambit. I'm looking at him right now, and I think he is in fact completely ready. So Dennis Seized, how's it going, my friend?
Hello, good, we won.
Yes, you did, but not
Good observation.
Yeah, not so convincingly, though, Dennis. Why do you think it went into double overtime?
It's all about first game on the tournament, and our opponent was not such a known. We don't know how they're playing, so for us it was like just play with new team against new team. So that's why it was so hard.
Yeah, did you have any specific preparation for them as a team? Any research done by your coaches?
We was trying to find some games with them, but it was not that much, and I will say we didn't prepare at all because it was hard to watch some demos because of some bug in CS or something like that. So,
Blair, Natu, please do jump in anytime you'd like.
No, I would really actually like to, because we discussed here on the desk that it feels to me at least that you are enjoying Counter-Strike much more. Feels like you're playing far better on this lineup, obviously, but you're still in-game leading the team, right?
yeah, that's true.
How do you feel? What's the chemistry like in the team if you compare it to the old?
There is chemistry perfect in the team. Of course, we have some problems like everyone has, but we are fixing it like a real team. Like we're just having fun outside of the game, in game. We just enjoying to play with each other. So that's the main reason.
Did it feel to you, because for us watching it felt like especially Kusta was having far too much room on the A bomb side defending when you were attacking? Do you feel like you were not using your flashes or mollies and smokes effectively enough?
Yes, I guess.
And
Well, I guess that's the that's how the cookie crumbles.
yeah, Blair, do you have any questions?
Yeah,
before I jump in?
one last thing would be, were you a little surprised with the way they were playing, especially on the CT side, where they've struggled on? Were you struggling a little bit, trying to get into the bomb sites?
To be honest, we didn't that struggle as City. We just throw so many rounds with advantage, like 4 against 2.
Yeah.
Even when we have such advantage, when we even won a round, we like losing 3 players and our economy gonna be worse. That's why. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, Dennis. Final question to you. Considering I think you're one of the more favoured teams to take the tournament here, where do you guys place yourself, and do you think your chance of winning are high?
I hope so. Let's see. We just have a few tournaments in a row, and we were trying to improve with each game after game, and to get in shape. I will say.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that, and we will see you later in the tournament. Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
See you.
Good luck.
All right, well, Natu and Blair, that will be it for the first match of today. And coming up after the break, we have North versus Imperial. Everybody at home, do not go anywhere.